Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Carolina Perez. I am the drummer for Hypoxia.
And Carolina, how would you describe the music of Hypoxia?
The music of Hypoxia is, we definitely have a lot of old school death metal vibe, but we also like to add like new, whatever our flavor is when it comes to like what our influences are personally. So like Carlos, the guitar player, is more old school, back like 80s and 90s metal, but I like everything. So we try to incorporate a little bit of everything, but it's pretty chaotic. That's a vibe. It's very bombastic.
Okay. Would you say that you guys are more old school? Would you say that you have a lot of like slam and thrash influences?
We definitely have a lot of thrash and slam influences, but the uniqueness of the sound of Hypoxia comes from Carlos' riffing style. So his riffing style is very old school, like his phrasing and how he jumps some notes and how he does his picking. So I think that his guitar playing is what defines our sound at the end. With everything else, obviously Mike's vocals and my drumming and all that, but yeah, he has a very unique riffing style.
I should mention that you guys are based in New York.
Yeah.
Would you say that you guys have or drew influence from any of those classic New York death metal bands?
Oh, absolutely. We have, I mean, for a lot of how I play, Suffocation is a huge influence. Also a lot of like Florida influence too, like Malevolent Creation is a band that we kind of sound like. But New York bands in general, yes, definitely feel influenced by Immolation, Suffocation, Internal Bleeding, Pyrexia, all those bands.
Can you tell me a little bit about how Hypoxia got together and what your intentions were when you guys put the band together?
Carlos and I go way back to like early 2000s. We used to rehearse in the same like studios in Whitestone, Queens, where he practiced with his other band and I practiced with my other band. His other band was Secrecy, really good band. Highly recommend you guys check it out. And I had like my high school band. I was like way younger, and we happened to get booked in the same show. So like, we became closer as we played a show together, and we just, like we used to go to each other's practices and stuff. And then I left and he moved to Chicago, and then like both bands were dissolved. And then like 8 years later, we met again at a Carcass show in New York City. And then he was like, "Hey, what's up? Are you playing with anyone?" I was like, "No, I'm not playing. I would love to jam." So we started jamming, and we actually, when we got together, we were going to play a cover of Vader. That was like the basic, like kind of what we wanted to sound like. It was like Vader. But I hadn't been playing death metal in a while. So it took me like quite a few practices to kind of get like the death metal drumming down. But like again, because it was so long, and we just started like playing, just jamming to riffs and trying to play that cover that it took me a long time to get, but it just happened kind of organically, like just playing riff by riff, just do a blast beat, do a skank beat, and just stuff like that.
So from covering that Vader song, when did you guys start writing your own material, or when did you decide that you wanted this project to create original music?
Probably like 3 or 4 practices after we got together for the first time. We'll hang out after practice and talk about like, it would be nice to be able to play this Malevolent Creation song or whatever. Why not? You start talking about influences. And then he, always has a lot of riffs just handy. They just come to him very easily. So it's just like, oh, I'll play a beat to this riff. And then before we know it, we have like 5 riffs. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a song. And we start building around that. And just like that, like very organically. But then, we're like, oh, we should get a vocalist. And, we try and, get a show together. And then before you know it, you're playing your first show. We had quite a few vocalists, actually. We had like 4 different vocalists, like as we were forming and trying to shape the sound of the band. You go through a lot of people, and some people make it, some people don't. But that also helped shape the sound of the band, being through so many vocalists.
I mean, did you guys know what you had in mind for a vocalist?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all our vocalists were good or all like that, but they each have a very different, you know, pitch and sound and technique. So pretty much every EP and demo that we did was, you can almost call it a different band, because just having a different vocalist just makes it sound that much different.
When did you meet Mike?
We actually met Mike. We went to a March to Hell back in, I think it was like 2009, and he was there with Monstrosity. We met him there first for the first time, but then we had a mutual friend that knew Mike, and she knew that we were looking for a vocalist. And she was like, "Oh, let me ask." We had already recorded the first album, Despondent Death, and we had a vocalist at the time that just did a very bad job in the recording, and we had to scratch his vocals. So we had all this music and all the songs, and we were like really defeated. And we were just like, we need a vocalist. And so she knew Mike, and so she was like, "Hey, are you interested?" And he's like, "Send me the songs. I'll listen to it." And then he liked it, and he agreed to do it, and he wrote the lyrics, and he did everything for it, and saved the record.
Yeah.
That's how he became our vocalist. Yeah.
Did you want Mike to be a full-time guy, or were you at the time just needed somebody for that album, the first album?
Oh, we didn't know, if because he was pretty busy with Monstrosity back then. So we had no expectations. We were just super grateful that he agreed to, sing on the record. And when we heard what he did, we were like, oh my God, like, he's just insane. Yeah, it's another level.
So we spoke about how Mike got involved, but, as you mentioned, it started with you and Carlos. How long before you guys had a full lineup?
I am gonna say it took a while. We first named the band Ether, and we had like maybe 3 songs. And then a friend was like, "Oh, I know this really good vocalist, like, a growler that I used to jam with." And we were like, "Oh yeah, let's meet with him and see if he works out." And then he was good, but he lived really far, so that didn't work out. So then it was a couple months after that, and then we auditioned a different guy, and he was good. We played a few shows with him. His name was Joe, I think. We've been to so many vocals, I don't remember the names, but yeah, I think his name was Joe, and he was in the band for maybe a year and a half. And then he couldn't continue. He was actually a cop, so he quit. Yeah, he quit, and then we got another vocalist, and we just, we played a lot of local shows with every vocalist that we had, because we used to be like the local band in New York, so we opened for like everybody until we got Mike, and then we just stopped doing so many shows, but focusing more on like the actual music and making good recordings. Because when you're the local band and you play so many local shows, you never get better, because you're just like focused on just playing shows,
Right. Yeah. Well, tell me about the songwriting. Does everything start with you and Carlos?
Yes. Yeah. We really, like, most of the writing process for Hypoxia happens at the practice spot, where we get together and he would just start playing a riff and just start drumming to it, and it will like shape it into something, and it's a lot of jamming involved. But for this last album, because I moved away from New York, it was more challenging. So we had to learn how to work remotely. So he would just send me like the naked riffs, and then I would just try and play to them in my studio. And then I would just be like, "Oh, play it shorter, play it longer, or do this variation." And whatever we would do at the studio, we just do remotely now. So then that's how we shape the songs.
Do you guys trade files back and forth, like over Dropbox or something like that?
Yeah, we have a Gmail file, and we just load everything there. And it starts with one file, and it ends up being 200 files. It's just like the evolution of a song.
Yeah. Since you're not jamming together in the studio now, are you programming your drums to send it back to him, or are you still doing them live?
No, I play them. So I have a studio with microphones and stuff. I have my software and everything, so I just load the riffs into my computer, and then I write drums to the riffs sitting on my drum set.
Okay.
Yeah.
How complete are the songs when the rest of the band gets them? Like in terms of arrangements?
Oh, well, Mike when Mike gets them, they're finalized. He likes it that way. He wants to hear the completed song. He never asks to like change anything. The only issues we had maybe are with just like where the solos are placed. Sometimes that interferes with the flow of the vocal. So that might have been the case where we had to like change the location, but that's it.
So we're having this conversation a month before Self-Made God releases your third album, which is called Defiance. Defiance will be coming out on the 23rd of February. As you mentioned, the writing for this was a little bit different than your previous albums. Musically, how would you describe this album? How would you compare it to your previous two?
Well, the more you play in a band, the more you know the sound that you want, the final product. And then also, you are shaped better. So I feel like this album is the best album we've put out because first of all, is our third album with Mike. So Mike gets it now, like he understands the music. Or not that he didn't understand it before, but he just is more familiar with it, It's more natural for him. Same for us. I mean, we've been jamming for a long time, so it's so natural for us to just know what Hypoxia is heading to as a band, It's like since we've done 3 albums now, so yeah, it's just more defined. It's better, like technically too, because I've gotten to learn so much more about drums and more stamina. We're all overall better musicians since we've been playing for longer, and it's just really good.
You have a new guitarist on this album as well, right?
Yeah, so Ryan Moll, he's really good friends with Mike, and he actually, so when we recorded our previous album, Abhorrent Disease, he helped us with our shows, with the release shows, and we had a lot of fun together, and we're like jamming and all that. So, and since he learned all the material, and we were hoping that we could play a lot more shows together, but that was the only show that he played, which was in St. Vitus in New York. And we stayed in touch, and we started working on the new album right away. So then Carlos asked him if he wanted to be involved, and he said yes. So, it just happened in a really good way, friendly and no egos or nothing like that.
When did you actually start work on writing this album?
I'm going to say the first song, which is Pathway to Charon, we started working on that song in 2017, 2016. And then slowly.
So even before the
Yes.
previous album came out.
Yeah. So when we got together, we jammed. We practiced twice a week. Our routine was always play the songs, and then at the end of the practice, we would always work on something new. So we would have to force ourselves to work on something new. And so whenever we started working on something new, that same thing will come up in the next practice at the end, and we just kept evolving that same new thing that we were working on last time until we became a song.
Okay. When were you guys finished?
We finished last I want to say last year, early last year. Yeah, because the whole thing was finished, mixed and mastered in August. So I think Mike got the final, how the songs were shaped and all that, and the actual drums recorded in I'm gonna say February, March.
Where did you guys end up recording the album?
I recorded the drums here in Ohio at Mercenary Studios. Is Noah Buchanan. He's really good. He also records Midnight and all the local bands here in Ohio. He also plays in Non-Slaughter, so he knows about metal. Yeah. So he when we told him what we wanted, he immediately got it, which was great.
Did everyone else record their parts remotely?
So my recorder, he has a home studio, and bass player, yes, he recorded in Florida, Mike Bogion, and then Ryan sent his solos because Carlos he did all the tracking at home, but then he came to Ohio to reamp all the guitars with Noah and just do last minute things. So then everything was sent to Noah, and he mixed and mastered everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had you worked with Noah before?
Yes, I recorded. Actually, it was my third time going to Noah to record. No, actually, no. When I recorded Hypoxia, I mixed everything in my head. That was the first time I recorded with him. And then after that, I kept going to him because I recorded 2 more times after I recorded the Hypoxia. So yes, that was my first time recording drums with him.
What do you like about working with Noah?
Well, he's just really professional, and he's also a cool dude, to work with. He knows what, drums in metal are supposed to sound like, because that's something that has to be very specific. So yeah.
What would you say he brought to the sound of the album in terms of mixing and mastering?
Noah?
Yeah.
I believe he brought a more organic sound, more what we wanted to sound like. It was really hard for us to find that. he brought clarity. Like, it just sounds bigger in a different way than the previous albums. Just it works kind of like old school, so that comes out in the recording.
When you say he works old school, what do you mean by that?
I mean that he doesn't like to take a lot of shortcuts.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, like the quality of the sound is more important than saving time or trying to get it done with a computer, you know?
Yeah, gotcha. So this will be your second album for Self-Made God.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys end up getting signed with him?
Through Mike Grubobchek. He's really good friends with Carol, and Carol pretty much supports anything Mike is on. And he happens to like Hypoxia, so it was it's really cool to work with him the first time, and so I'm sure it's going to be just as awesome this time.
So Mike knew Ryan and Mike knew the record label. It sounds like Mike's got all the connections.
Yeah. So when we were scrambling for like a second guitar player for the show, it was like, oh, let me ask my buddy Ryan, you know? So Ryan was immediately in. Same with Mike Boguillon. Like, they're friends. You know, it's just, Mike is a very professional person, and he's, you know, like, he gets the job done. So anybody's gonna like working with Mike. You know, like, if Mike asked me to be in any project he's in, I'm gonna be like, yes, you know?
So the album will be coming out in February. Do you guys have plans as far as shows, tours, maybe some festivals over the summer?
Not unfortunately, we don't have any shows planned. We really hope we can get like a good festival, because we have played big festivals with Hypoxia and it's just really cool. We love it and we hope we can do more of that. But as of now, we don't have any shows. We're gonna have a listening party. It's the actual date of the release on February 23rd, Duff's in Brooklyn. Just because the logistics of just getting everyone in the same room is just a little expensive, and to plan a show is also, there's so much involved, and we just don't want to play any show just because we have a release. We want it to be a good show. So yeah, with that being said, we have that, and then we just hope to sell enough and make enough like noise for promoters to get interested and maybe have us play a festival or a show that's worthy of everyone having to fly and get together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're in Ohio, and I think you said your base is in Florida, right?
Yes, and Ryan lives in Philadelphia.
So have you guys been in a room together since the album came out?
Yeah, never with Mike Pogion, never with a bass player. Actually, I've never met Mike Pogion. Because when we played the shows in New York, even though he was in the last album, he couldn't make it because he was living in Ukraine by then. So yeah, it was like impossible. Well, not impossible, but very expensive. So our friend June, who lives in New York, he learned the songs and he played the show for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this show at Duff's that's coming up is going to be the first time you guys will be playing together since...
Yes.
Since when?
Yeah, well, when the pandemic happened.
Right, okay.
We just never really I've been to New York a few times and I actually jammed with Carlos a bunch, but everyone's really busy with life and stuff. So
yeah,
we do everything remotely if we can.
Cool.
It's easier that way.
Out of curiosity, with your drum setup, when you jam out, are you usually jamming out to the pre-recorded stuff that Carlos sends, or do you guys get to jam live? Over like
we do both.
An ISDN line or something like that?
We do. Well, no, we don't jam live like remotely. Just too much technology involved for Carlos. But
and there's always a lag, right? Like when you're...
Yeah. So I get all the tracks that he sends me, and then I work on it, whatever, however. And then when I go to New York, we do try and get together and jam to new stuff, like mostly just so we don't lose that,
Gotcha. You said something about, writing this album and this album being where you guys wanted Hypoxia to go. With you guys living in different parts of the country now, what do you think the future of Hypoxia is going to be?
I mean, we hopefully can get together again and jam more, but, the older we get, the more we understand that this is just... this has been our baby for a long time, and we're really dedicated and determined to put out really good death metal out there. But right now, we kind of have to see it just like our, I don't want to say hobby, because it is not. It's more than that. But it's definitely not everyone's priority at the moment. So with the release, yes, it is a priority because we worked so hard, so we're really excited right now, but we're not just gonna go play any show. It's got to be worthy of our of our time. So where the band's going is probably just gonna be a long distance project for a while. We'll see. I mean, you never know. We could be playing good festivals, maybe tour, who knows, or not. It just depends on kind of offers we get.
Gotcha. So the third Hypoxia album is called Defiance, and it will be coming out on February 23rd through Self-Made God Records. Carolina, can you please tell people how they can order the album?
Absolutely. You can go to the Self-Made God Records website and then just type our name. He has our previous album as well, and he's got pre-orders are up, so you can pre-order the album. I think he also has the new artwork t-shirt, which the new artwork is really cool. You should check it out if you can when you go to the Hypoxia Facebook page or Instagram. you just type Hypoxia band on either one, because if you type Hypoxia only, and there's like another band that's called like that's gotta be Hypoxia band. And then also you can go to our band, which we have actual merch for sale for CDs and t-shirts and hats and beanies and all that. And we're also going to have the new album once it comes out. And for vinyl lovers, there's going to be 100 copies pressed, and that's it. So it's very limited. So yeah, if people out there love vinyl, there will be some.
Cool. And if people want to follow Hypoxia online and get updates on shows and tours and things like that, what's the best way to do that?
Through our Instagram, I believe it is Hypoxia band as well, but let me check really quick because I don't want to give people the wrong information. But yeah, for Bandcamp, definitely Hypoxia band at bandcamp.com. And it is Hypoxia Official on Instagram, Hypoxia Official.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I apologize if I got off rails.
No worries. You mentioned some of your other projects. Do you want to give people updates on what else you're working on?
Oh my gosh, yeah, sure. Well, I'm the drummer for Castrator, which is my other band. I also recorded drums for In the Fire, which is Ryan's solo project. Ryan, who is also playing guitar in Hypoxia, he has like it's really cool. It's like almost like King Diamond meets Death kind of project, which was super challenging for me because I don't usually play that kind of drumming. So that was awesome. In the Fire, it's coming out this year too through Sataneth Records. And then I have my own, like I also play guitar and sing with my other band, Untoward. And that's it.
And is most of this stuff on Bandcamp? Can people find these albums online?
Untoward is not yet. Untoward, we're going to be recording that like next month. So Untoward will be soon. But yes, In the Fire, that album's coming out soon. But In the Fire does have a Bandcamp, and Castrator does as well.
Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you.